This is the base object data, which where we have implemented match process, right? So the two records, like the total three records were there. Two got consolidated. One is in manual merge queue. Okay.
Okay.
And let's see the address base object table, which is a child to this party base object table. If you observe over here, this party FK has been reflected. This consolidated record, okay, this consolidated record row ID object reflected at the child base object table level. So we have loaded, uh, okay, we have loaded two records, right, in the address base object table. These two records we have loaded, right?
Yes. Yes.
And these two records has parent, two parent records. Okay. What happened at the parent base object level? These two parent records got merged and only one has been survived. Survived row ID object is 2. That's why at the child base object table level, under the party foreign key column, whichever the row ID object got survived, that value will get reflected automatically. Will get reflected automatically. Okay.
Okay.
So the like whenever we run any process like stage job, load job, and match job, whichever the objects related to that base object table, there will be changes occurs at the respective child base object tables also. Okay, it issues update statements. So here the row ID object 2 has been survived at the parent table level. So that's why 2 has been reflected over here. So in future, a data steward analyze the data and he thinks that these two records also same, and then he merged the record, and in that case like 2 has been survived, right? So here 2 will get reflected automatically as 2 is there. If 3 gets survived, then 3 will get reflected automatically over here. Okay. So the foreign key columns at the child table levels will get updated automatically whenever a change happens at the parent base object table level. Okay.
Okay.
Did you get that?
Yes. Yes.
Why here these records got reflected means these records are related to the parent base object records. That's why for that parent base object records, there is a change happened. So that change got reflected over here.
Yes.
Okay. Yesterday I forgot to mention this. Now today what we will do, mm, we will implement fuzzy match process. Okay. And implementing the fuzzy match process, I will explain you about the path components also. See if you see here name, email ID, contact. Only three columns are available. I got in a business requirements, party records which are having same contact email ID and same zip code, address line one, same city. Then only we have to merge those records. Okay.
Okay.
Right now in the parent table we have only three columns are there. But like if you want to get zip code, city, and address line one, how can we get that?
Using
So
address table.
yes, those details are present in address table, but
Yes.
in our parent table, those columns are not there, right? So how can we bring those columns to define the match rule? So here the business requirement came. We have to define the match rule that if a party record having same name, okay, same email ID, means exact email ID, exact contact, exact address line, exact zip code, and exact city. Okay. So the in that business requirement, there are three other columns are there which belongs to the other base object table, and so how can we bring those columns into this parent base object match rules? So to bring those columns, we have one setup, one option is there, that is path components. So whenever we define a relationship between the base object tables, so if you go under the path components, here path components, so if we define the relationship, we can define the path component till the child level. So once we define the relationships between the base objects, then we can bring those columns which are required for our match rules through path components. So once we define the path components, path component is nothing but like we are like telling to MDM that go in this particular path and bring that columns like so whenever we run the match process, it performs some inner join operation between the parent and child records. Okay, so once it forms the inner join, it pulls the records. Like we know that join, like we can if we perform
Mm-hmm.
a join, like we can take the parent and child records, child
Yes.
columns, right? So similar to that, it picks the child columns for the matched condition. So here, how we define the relationship based upon row ID object, right? So row ID object of parent gets matched with the foreign key column of child, 40FK. Then it picks those records and uh, put into the match columns and the match rules. Once the match rules gets executed, so as per the configurations which we have defined, address, zip code, and city has to get should be the exact, and it runs the match process. And if it satisfies these conditions, the records get satisfies these conditions, then only those records will be considered as a match at parent table level. Okay, those MDM will not treat the records matched at the child table level. Okay, it it just applicable to the parent only, because we are running the match process at the parent table level. Okay, so let me create one path component like plus symbol. So here, whichever the relationships have been defined, those will be present over here. One is cross reference table of a parent only, that is leave about that until unless if we need, then only we go for this. Okay, and this is the child. So in the child base object table, it is showing that what is the foreign key, 40FK. Okay, how the direction is parent to child, means from party to address. It will traverse. MDM will traverse from party to address table to when we run the match process. So here I'm mentioning address, party to address. Okay. And here also same, that 24 characters is applicable. It should not be greater than 24, the physical name. This is the path component. And here we have option allow missing child records. By default, it is checked. So whenever there are no child records to a associated parent record, okay. So in the parent, we have three records. Three records, two got consolidation, third record is not does not have any child right now at the child table level. If you see here, okay, there is no child for this associated parent record, right? So
Right.
when we perform match process, if we don't check this one, only this record will participate in the match process. This record will not participate because here inner join will form, right? So whichever the records gets matched, those records only it will get pick. So for unmatched records, it will like the join condition if does not satisfy, then it won't pick those records. If we check this one, what will happen? It forms outer join. Okay, outer join. So if it perform like we know that output of outer join, right? Left outer join, the between the parent and child. So whichever the records present at the parent table level, it picks those records and the match records from the child table. Okay. By default, this option will be checked. It's our wish. Like if business mentions that it does not need this one, we have to run the match process only for associated child records. Then we will uncheck this. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll check on this. Click OK. So we have defined one path component. Now we can bring the required columns for our match process. So in the match columns, we can bring those columns. So we can change the path component, and if we click this one, then we can see the child table columns. Okay. What we can do, we need address line one, right? Okay. Address, click OK, click plus symbol, change the path component, select the zip code and city. And city. Okay. So now we have three child match columns which belongs to child table. Okay. See here, it is showing the source table. What is the source table for these columns and what is the source table for these columns? Root means parent record, parent columns, and path components means like these are child columns. Okay. And moreover, if you observe the icon change, there is a relation like the traverse, how it traverse, like okay.
Okay. Okay.
We have defined the match columns. Okay, click go, save. So here it is asking to reset the match table. Here I won't click reset. Why? Because there is an entry in the one. There is an one entry in the match table, so I don't want to lose that entry. Okay, click no, so that the match table will not get truncated. If you see, still you will find the uh, records in the match table. Okay, it depends upon the requirement. Okay. Generally, at the lower environments, we do this like click yes because we are the only developers, right? We do
Mhm.
those things. Okay. Even in production, also, um, we have to make sure that there should not be any entries in match table whenever we make changes to the match properties. So we can use these columns in any of our match rule sets. Click OK, and here plus symbol. I can add here. I can add. I can add zip code, city, and address. Click OK. So I'm modifying the existing match rule set. Email, and if it has same city and zip code. Yeah. So like we can use these child columns in exact match rule set also. So we can use, like, once we define the path components, we can use in fuzzy match strategy or exact match strategy. It doesn't matter. Okay. So now we have defined the path components. Okay. Now, like, we have to see the what is fuzzy match strategy. So to make this table as fuzzy table, we have to change this property. Yeah, we have only one population file, that is demo population file for our learning purpose. Okay, and let's save it. Okay, so here once we change this strategy, here you are observing some extra columns. Earlier, if we have exact, there is no extra properties over here. If I change to fuzzy, here we are getting this extra, right? This is key type, key width, path component. Okay. So if I select key type as organization name, like here we have three key types are there: person name, organization name, address. Okay. So why we use this key types is to get the tokens. I have explained you about the tokenization, right? It identifies the potential match candidates, means to perform the range search. So it picks the records from particular range and then goes for match and merge process. So for that purpose, we have to create some tokens, right? So how we generate the tokens based upon which criteria? So here we have tokenization creations based on three types, three key types. One is person name. So person name means, like, it if the data has only the individual's information, then we go for person name. Okay. And moreover, one thing I have to tell you, that fuzzy strategy can be implemented only on columns, string columns. Okay. Not on integer columns. So mainly we implement fuzzy strategy either on names or address. Okay, because we get typo errors or some nicknames in either names or address only, right? Not to the email IDs, not to the context or any of integers. Okay, so for that reason we have only three key types: person name, organization name, address, part one. So here under the person name, if we have individual names in our data, then only we go for person name. If we have both individual and organization data, then we'll go for organization name as a key type. Okay? Here, the fuzzy match key is nothing but the key type which we are going to select. And address part one, if you are dealing with the address fuzzy match process. Right now, we are not dealing with address fuzzy match, right? That's why I'm not selecting that. Okay? Select organization name or person name. It depends upon the data which we have. Like, if I select like organization name, okay, I have selected organization name. And here we have key width is that. Under key width, we have standard, extended, limited, preferred. Okay. If we select key width as standard, depends upon the data variation, it generates max 4 tokens. Okay. If we select extended, it generates 7 tokens. If it is limited, it generates max 2 tokens. If it is preferred, it generates max 1 token. Again, it depends upon the degree of variance of our data. Okay. So here, why we have to select this key width is, suppose the data which we are having, um, more number of duplicated data, then we'll go for limited or preferred, because if we have more number of duplicate data, there are chances of high degree of variance of tokens gets generated for each and every record. Okay. So like, suppose just think that for every record it generates 4 tokens, then how many, for like, for one record it's 4 tokens, means like, just think that for 1,000 records how many tokens it generates. 4,000 tokens. Again, within the tokens, again it has to perform range search, right? So like, for new 1,000 records it generates 4,000, but what about the existing records? How many tokens it gets generated, right? So that is the reason we have to select very cautiously. But as a standard practice, standard keyword will be the best suitable one. Okay. We will select standard as a keyword in most of the projects, and again it depends upon the business requirement, based upon the data. So there should be always a trade-off between the data and the configurations. Okay. If you want to go for deeper analysis, like deeper analysis like exact match process, then we'll go for extended, and it picks that exact records like with more similarities and those things, right? If you go for lesser number of, like, if we have a higher number of duplicate data, we don't go for this extended, because it generates lot of tokens, and may leads to the overmatching. Overmatching means, supposed to records should not get matched, but MDM treats that those records are matched records. That's why it should be any trade-off between the selection of properties and our data. So that's why before loading the data into the MDM, will make sure that there should not be any. Bro, just few minutes. Okay, I got a call.
Okay.
Mahesh, I have passport verification with the police, so it may take like 15 or 20 minutes, half an hour. Okay, stay
Okay.
in the call. I'll take, or else like tomorrow I'll take the call. Okay, I'll wind up the topic here. So the key width depends upon the degree of variation we have to select. Okay, so if I select, it generates max 4 tokens. Okay, depends upon the degree of variance of data, and the path component on which thing we have to apply this tokenization. So generally we are selecting the root, means parent things, right? That's why we don't select the child. If we select the child, means it generates the uh, what I can say, like, wrong tokenizations, because the token should generate on parent table, right? And then it performs the range search. If you generate on child tables, it doesn't make sense, like it provides a wrong result set. That's why we'll select the root as a parent one, and here we have to select the column. Which column we have to select? We'll select the name, like S. So under this fuzzy match key, we have selected the name. Click save. No fuzzy match rules are defined. Okay, we'll define those in match rule set. Okay. I got a police verification, so we'll continue. Okay. If you stay in the call, that would be okay, or else like tomorrow will be also. Like, I'll continue.
Either way, it should be fine. Take your time. Don't worry.
Okay. Okay.
Let's
Then
connect tomorrow then.
okay. Okay. Thank you.
Uh, Okay, bye.
Bye.